Do you ladies ever find yourself in a situation where you think to yourself, self, if you go on a date with a ventriloquist and the dummy doesn't stay in the box, does that mean that you were on a date with two people or one people?
People.
Okay, I'm just saying.
That's cool.
That was not what we were intending to hear about.
No.
We were intending to hear about sword fights.
Yeah, we decided we're not going to talk about sword fights.
Keep us on.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, with that, welcome everybody to episode 174 of Sawdust Talk. Tonight we are joined with a friend from Maker Camp, Brittani Locke of the Soft Asylum. Super excited to have her on and share a little bit more about her. TJ's going to run through our sponsors real quick and then we will get into the show.
Absolutely. So aside from my crazy ramblings at the beginning of episode, we normally kick things off thanking Hannah and the team over at Surf Prep Sanding Systems. There are a handful of options in the market when you want a premium sanding experience. But I got to tell you, boys and girls who are watching the show, nothing touches the 3x4 wiggle sander that is available from Surf Prep, especially if you're into dust collection. Tip top. If you're shopping at surfprep.com and you feel like saving a couple of bucks, you should use coupon code Sawdust Talk and save a couple of bucks and help the show a little bit. Also, we're going to give another silent, sneaky shout out to some support that we've gotten from Harvey Industries and Harvey Woodworking Tools. They have taken very good care of us over the years, and we are giving them the shout out that they deserve. We love you guys. And then thirdly, we have a Patreon. It is a tiny Patreon, but every little bit helps. And for $5 a month, you can help Jessie get a fancy camera that makes her come in loud and clear, or some faster internet, or get us to the Maker meetups so that we can hang out with you. All that money goes directly back into the show in one form or another. And we look forward to seeing you guys at the various events that we can get to so that we can all hang out together and meet cool people like Miss Brittani.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So we'll just, of course. Yeah. We'll like start out with, the softball and be like, who are you? I mean, for people who haven't been to Maker Camp and made beautiful fabric with you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So I'm Brittani Locke from the Soft Asylum. I do an art known as marbling, and I mostly do it on fabric, but there's different substrates you can apply it to. And it's basically a technique where you have a carrageenan gel inside of a shallow tray, and I float acrylic paints on the gel, and then you can take a print from the paints and you can manipulate the paints into different patterns with combs and tools and different experimental techniques. And just the thing I love about it is the experimentation really never ends. It's always evolving, and one leads to the next, and it's very derivative off of the last pattern. And I just keep coming up with tons and tons of ideas, despite having done this for 15 years, and it really never ends. And I'm just endlessly enthusiastic about it.
I love it.
I love it.
It reminds me a lot of plasti dipping.
Okay. Yeah.
Know about plasti dipping?
No.
I
don't know.
Well, I think I've seen that more like in the automotive industry where they plasti dip like parts and things like that.
Okay, yeah.
They can do kind of the same thing. It's like floating, but I don't know if it's like an alcohol base or what it is. But that's what watching you do your craft is like, reminds me a lot of, is like plasti dipping.
Yes. I think I've heard it called hydrographic immersion.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they just print out a thin film. I don't know. You're right. They have to use some kind of solvent maybe, because I see them wearing the mask, so.
Yeah.
And they can dip plastic materials, I have to usually use more like porous stuff, like fabric, paper, canvas. I do shoes, hats, so anything like natural material. But I've also seen the hydrographic dipping, and what did you call it? Plasti dipping?
Plasti dip. That's what it was
Okay.
always. Maybe that's like a slang word for it or something, but like, yeah, plasti dip, plasti dipping.
So,
Yeah.
how does one stumble or actively pursue this as a pastime? Does it like how what were the steps to bring us to where we are now?
A lot of people learn on YouTube, and that's kind of where I started learning the steps and the materials. It actually started for me back in elementary school, where we were having I think it was like first grade. I had an amazing art teacher, and she had set up a book arts day, because marbling is traditionally a book art. So she gave us the history lesson of where marbling came from and its importance in the book art industry. And she had set up different stations for bookbinding, printmaking, and marbling. And I mean, it was a whole project where we took our printmaking and marbling and we bound the books, and it was incredible. I mean, for first grade too. I mean, that was just epic. So that was my very first experience with marbling. And it was also, we had made the books, and it was the end of the school year, and we all had signed each other's books, autographed them, have a good summer, and what have you. And then I actually had put that into a memory box. And later in life, when I was, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, go to college, what was it going to be? I was actually having like a really hard time. And it was just that moment where I found that book and all those memories came back. And I just thought, I need to try this again with professional materials and go back and relive those childhood memories. So that's when I really started pursuing it on YouTube, because I just started researching, and there were some great videos on there to get started. And I took it from a kid's craft to learning more about the traditions and the history, and how it's more of a like fine art, and that the techniques could be really involved and complex. And it was hard to learn from YouTube, of course, because YouTube, but I actually had found some amazing teachers, Dan and Regina St. John of Chaina River Marblers, and they're world-renowned marblers. They go and study around the world. They do workshops. They're, travelers. They're teachers. They're expert marblers. And I fell in love with them and their teachings and what they do. And they helped me learn everything, just to perfect the craft and really take it to another level.
That's insane. I'm like, you're making me think of Brittani Carbone. She was at Maker Camp too. Okay. Because she speaks so highly of one of her art teachers that really just like changed her life completely, and she is still in contact with that teacher. So I want to know, do you remember that teacher's name, and do you still talk to the teacher?
No, I tried researching, and I called the school to see, who was this teacher in this year, and they said, well, we don't have records back that far, and they couldn't tell me. I kind of searched on Facebook a little bit to see if like the school had a Facebook, and I haven't found her yet, but I'm still going through my old stuff. Even to this day, I have too much stuff, but I feel like I could find an old yearbook or an old class picture or something that will help me get another clue. I haven't given up completely yet.
That would be so cool to like reconnect in that way.
Oh, I know. I mean, it was just so special. And I had moved away that year after that. So I moved from Pennsylvania to Maryland. And so it was kind of like, a pivotal moment even in my childhood. So I think it was a special impact that I took on.
Yeah. So you mentioned a little bit about the bookmaking world and how your guys' paths sort of overlap. Does that also mean that your interests in your gear kind of starts transcending into the paper making nerds and the book binding? Like, does that mean that your workshop is much more than the set of trays that you bring with you when we go to Maker Camp? Do you want to talk a little bit about sticking a toe into
Yeah.
paper making and pulp farming?
Yeah. It's great because there's so many different overlaps with the marbling, because you can get into fashion and textiles and dyeing, or there's the printmaker side where there's just printmakers. And I mean, printmakers and bookbinders kind of overlap each other quite often too. But when I was trying to figure out, in my teens and 20s, it took me a really long time basically to accept that I'm an artist. And I really tried to do many other things besides being an artist, and trying to like fit into a box where I could like succeed, where I thought I was going to succeed. But anyway, yeah, bookbinding. Well, that story comes because I was like, I was totally obsessed with marbling, and I was like, there's no way I'm ever gonna like turn this into a career. That's like absurd. Like, why would I even try to do that to myself? But I was too obsessed, and so I was going to college. I went to community college, and I went to community college for so many years. But I eventually moved on to UMBC, which is University of Maryland, Baltimore County. So I had a meeting with an advisor, an initial orientation meeting, and she was great. She really listened and helped me out, but I took the marbled papers that I was working on with me, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm really into. Like, this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I want to try to keep going with, and this is just giving me energy. And she saw it and she said, oh, you need to get into the printmaking program. It's print media. And so one of the main teachers in the print media department was Irene Chan. And so she's an awesome book artist. So she does book arts. And so I didn't know the connection really until I was introduced by my advisor and Irene Chan into the bookbinding world. And it was just fantastic because I could take those marbled papers and I made books out of them. I make journals out of them. And, it was great because it's something that I could use the papers for. I didn't have to keep stacking them up and not using them. I mean, I made collages, but this felt like a utilitarian object that was just a great piece of art. And I loved cutting the book boards and gluing the paper onto the boards, and you sew them together and getting all the pieces to fit nicely, and it's just folding the paper. It's really just a satisfying project to do bookbinding for sure.
Yeah. So the printmaking world is a place where I actually spent a lot of time at the university level. And one of the things that drew me into printmaking
Yes.
is the fact that your work was additioned, right?
Yeah.
It's got that repeatability. You were literally making prints.
Yes.
But when I look at your process for your marbling, I suppose like the idea of additioning in the approach with the way that you make your art gets a little bit tricky because it's not that finite repeatable. Every little piece is unique. And so I think as an artist and adding that art element to your work, you're still dealing with tools and communities and people that are on that printmaking side. But with each piece that you do, especially in the fabric and the paper side, being limited to essentially the size of your media that you can put into
Right.
the tray, it makes each one just like a little bit more special. It's like every piece is the printer's proof, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
Like that's really awesome. And are there people who do marbling that just have massive multi-yard long vats that are putting together like a whole bolt of fabric? Does anybody still print fabric this way?
Yes, I have a tank that's 10 feet by 50 inches, so I can make 3 yards fabric. That's the largest size that I can do. I mean, I've just seen videos. I don't know anybody specifically, but I've seen people in like Turkey. I mean, doing like the Guinness Book of World Records where there's like a huge group event where it's just like, it's like, it looks like it goes on for miles, but I don't know how large it is, but it's incredible. And then you see like 50,000 people like holding on to, I don't know, a piece of paper or a piece of fabric they're dipping, and it's monumental.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How did you go from, did you end up getting a degree? Or how did the Soft Asylum, like, when did you, like, how did that come about?
Yeah. I tried fitting into so many different boxes where I was like, okay, this is just like a feasible career, like interior design. I really tried to go for that. And then I took a construction materials and methods class, and that ruined everything because I basically had to like memorize all these facts about Portland cement that I had no interest whatsoever. I was like in rebar, and I mean, I'm sure you guys know all about that, but I'm just like, no, like this is not what I'm. And I mean, I know that's kind of like a short part of the program, but it was interesting because I tried, graphic design, photography, and even it's funny because like even the types of people that are in those different niches, you can just feel the energy and the vibe, and you're like, I don't belong. Like I don't belong to this group of people. And I mean, not like in an outcast way, but like this is probably not the path for me. But anyway, it was kind of like that for the interior design thing. And a little bit of the graphic design too, because I absolutely love graphic design and doing Photoshop and Adobe and Premiere and all that stuff. But like I wouldn't be able to like do it for a career, because to have like a project and a deadline and that kind of pressure in graphic design at a computer, that's not that gives me so much anxiety. But anyway, how did I get to the Soft Asylum?
So basically you spent a portion of time being in complete denial that you're an actual artist and that you could make a living doing this.
Yeah.
So what was that moment in time where you're like, the Soft Asylum is me, this is what I'm doing with my life?
Well, with my teachers, they were selling their trays and their tools. So you see in my videos, the wooden trays and tools. And I was like, okay, I definitely need a paper tray and the tools to go with it. I'm gonna make like mad amounts of paper, and I'm like, and I'm gonna be able to like sell the paper, and book artists will want it, and yada yada. But then Dan St. John was like, well, we also have this really large tray that you could do scarves in. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, scarves, that's not clicking. But I was like, and he sold it to me. He was really good. He's a good at talking me into it. Because it's just a beautiful piece of equipment, and I knew it was a total one of a kind piece. It's just the tools are gorgeous themselves. So that's what really attracted me to it. And I was like, okay, I shouldn't pass this opportunity up. Like it's hard. He can't ship this thing to me. It's pretty huge. I mean, you could ship it, but it'd be tricky. I should just buy it now. So it was a little impulsive, I guess. But then I got it, and I didn't even use it for the longest time. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to like make a plan and make a space setup and come up with it. It's like a lot harder to dip a piece of fabric and logistics, and I hadn't taken any classes on fabric marbling. They taught fabric marbling, but they didn't offer any fabric marbling classes when I was available to sign up for them. So I basically had to teach myself to transition from marbled paper to marbled fabric, which was just an enormous amount of like trial and error. And I set it up, and I was making the scarves, and it was going well. And I was also teaching at the Delaplane Art Center in Frederick, Maryland. And I was teaching classes for kids and adults on, printmaking, bookbinding. I did marbling with them, all kinds of different ideas. I mean, sculptures, 3D stuff too. It was fun. And then it was the 2020, so it was the lockdowns, and I was like, oh, I should start making videos. I got, more into the social media, and I said, this process, it's so attractive to watch. Why am I just posting my projects? Why don't I show, a video of the process? And I, set up a spot in my garage. I had to the garage was an absolute disaster. I had to clean it out and set it all up and start storyboarding the shots of how I wanted it to look, and make a set basically, because it was so, garage, not nice looking. And so I set up a set, and then I started filming the process, and people were just going nuts about it. And I was like, whoa, okay, there's something here. I mean, and it just went way farther beyond than I ever what?
Viral.
Yeah.
Hashtag satisfying.
Yeah. It just I can't believe it. Like, I'm blown away. People just love it. I don't know. It's just so fun to watch it, and it's so fun to film, so it's just a win-win.
Yeah. Well, and then I'd like, as a fellow Maker Camp sort of, I don't call it employee, but demonstrator. That's the word I'm looking for, demonstrator. I see so many different varieties of complexity in the works that people are making under your tutelage at camp.
Oh, yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about Maker Camp and getting, I don't want to say dragged, but the first time somebody's like, hey, what you do would be a lot of fun for people. I want to know how, I don't want to say duped. I want to know how you got tricked into becoming a demonstrator at Maker Camp also.
Well, the Maker Camp people can thank my husband for that, because I I'm a homebody and an introvert. And so you know, Austin reached out to us and, you know, gave us the business. He was like, it'd be cool. We'd love to have you guys out. I think this is a good fit. Can you make bandanas? People want to, do hands-on activities. This would be a really good asset to Maker Camp. And I was kind of swamped at the time. It would, I still feel like I'm getting the business where I want it to be, getting it up and running. I guess I'll never feel satisfied, but I was, in the weeds. And Alex was like, look, there's this thing called Maker Camp. You should really look into this. And in my mind, okay, I had I just imagined an art festival, just the normal art festival that we're all kind of used to, just going and looking at art. And I was like, man, I can't do an art festival right now. Like, I have so many things going on, and it's just not going to work. I'm sorry. Just tell them I can't do it. I feel bad telling this story, but this is a true story. And Alex is like, no, you don't understand. This is not an art festival. He's like, these people are amazing, like highly, highly skilled. There's hands-on, woodworkers, metalsmiths, blacksmiths, glass blowers. Like, he just rattled off the whole list. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll think about it, And it was just, I feel so bad because look what I could have missed out on. Like, and it just makes me think, like, I could have said no. And that's just so messed up because Maker Camp has been like the most epic, like monumental. It's like an artistic family. I had no idea. I was so stubborn, and I feel really bad for even saying no in the first place. But I'm so glad that Alex was persistent about it because, I was afraid to pack up the studio. I was afraid to leave and go on the road. I've never traveled that far with the studio before, and I'm not even a traveler on a normal basis, but to pack an entire van, and it was a huge leap of faith for me, just personally. But it's only my second year, and I feel like it feels like I belong there, It just,
yeah,
as you do.
It's just it's such an amazing blessing. Everybody there is so sweet, so precious. I love seeing everybody's gifts and talents. I can't believe it. I really can't.
Yeah, and then we all somehow shuffle onto a giant, I refer to it as a baseball field, but I feel like that's selling it short because it's like just like 6 baseball backstops on that campus. It's just massive. And the high fives and the so excited to see yous and, the hugs from your internet friends, and then just nonstop parallel play.
Yeah.
With all of your internet homies.
Yeah.
Or locals. Some of us are lucky in that way, but like, there is, to my knowledge, no other experience like that. And it's just like, I'm usually over at the lathe, making bowls and magic wands for little kids, but I'm always seeing people walking back and bragging and showing off the stuff that they do with you, and the fact that like you get to operate as both like enthusiast and educator in the presence of friends and peers and wanna learners. I think is just, it's like the special sauce that gets sprinkled on that event. And so I'm hoping that you're planning on coming back for 2026.
Absolutely. It's the only thing I have on my schedule.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Hold on. I want to brag on you guys too for a second, because I mean, obviously Maker Camp is our favorite event of the year. But there within Maker Camp, like the two of you that are sitting in front of me right now, Brittany, TJ, I mean, the whole weekend is scheduled out. So there's classes, you go to class, you get to learn a thing. There's a ton of excellent instructors, but there are a select few people at Maker Camp who demonstrate, who don't know the word no and continue to make outside of and teach outside of their quote unquote time. Brittany, you're one of them. TJ, you're also one of them. I would say the blacksmith tent has a few people that just are, I mean, but not everybody does that. Some people show up and they're like, here's my demonstration. Let me teach you a thing. We'll do a class, blah, blah, blah. And then they're out. You guys, I don't know how you do it, but both of you by the end of the weekend, I'm looking at you and you're just like running on fumes. And I'm like, but everybody loves you guys so much.
Right. But like, if not us, then who?
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Like, and I love seeing, I love that like wood turning draws a crowd, right? And the same with marbling. Like from a spectator standpoint, it's super easy.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then when people realize that the generosity of the demonstrators like us, right, is as widespread as it is, it's like, well, one, I get to spend the whole day doing the thing that fills my bucket.
Yeah.
Right. So like if you're going to sit and hang out and watch for like 3 hours and build the courage to like pick up a tool and do it.
Yeah.
I'm stopping when my legs give out. And that's usually but somewhere between like 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. And that's just, and you get to stand on grass. I'm over on the tarmac, but
oh man.
I mean, yeah, I may have missed out on some, you know, beer chugging and bonfires and stuff like that. But, you know, you foster the community, and
True.
that's where the cool friendships come from. Do you have any fun stories or late night excitement that's happened?
We actually took my daughter, who's 7 this last year. So we did not stay late. But to have her experience this as a child, I mean, it was just it's shaped her already. I can tell. She did, you know, printmaking, Legos, sewing, just like she made
and
a leather
chopstick.
the chopsticks,
Yeah.
the leather bracelet, the arrowheads. I mean, it was those are just the stuff off the top of my head. She just did the whole weekend. I mean, my husband took her around to every single thing. It was incredible. And she came home and she was, you could just tell she was pretending that she was still at Maker Camp. She was coming up with her own projects. She was teaching. She was showing me how to do stuff. So it was like this really creative teacher aspect that she was introduced to. Mm-hmm. But as far as, you know, interacting with the crowd, it's so amazing. People come from all walks of life, from all around. I mean, somebody came from England, you know. Mm-hmm. That's just epic. And I feel so honored when I hear people coming that far. And I hope it was worth it for them. But to get to talk and interact and see all of the different ideas that people come up with, because we all have the same set of tools at our hands. So everybody's starting, you know, like with the same set of tools and paints, but everybody's piece is absolutely totally unique. They come up with their own pattern and their own color, their own style. I mean, I've seen hundreds of marble pieces from the audience, and every single one is absolutely different. It's epic. And they teach me new ideas. They inspire me to try something new that I haven't thought of. And, you know, people are always like, oh, have you tried this? Have you tried dipping this? And, you know, it's so precious to interact with them. And yeah, you just want to keep going. You know, because the time flies by so fast, and it's like, oh, I can keep going. You want to keep marbling? Like, come on, you know? And I say, I bring an amount of supplies, and I say, you know, go ahead. And if we still have the supplies and I'm still on my feet, you can keep trying it, because I mean, it took an enormous amount of work to get here. So now's the time.
Mhm.
Now's your chance. Now's my chance. So let's make this happen.
Yeah, I love seeing people break the fear of trying
Yeah.
something, right? So like there's two different levels of inherent danger between what you and I do, right? You have chemicals and I have flying debris. But knowing that you can guide somebody from like a timid spectator to a participant in 25, 30 minutes
I know.
and letting them touch the tools and sort of see that, like, yes, it's chaos, right? And same with printmaking, right? Like there's elements of fear in the unknown, and like you might do something and you might not like how that works out, but like you still gotta run with it,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And being able to cultivate that in people in our community, I think, is just awesome. So I am going to come and do a bandana and a print with you this year at Maker Camp. We will have some fun. And
I'll tear him
yeah,
away from the list for 2
yeah,
seconds.
Jesse's gotta be like, TJ, you have to eat something.
Yeah.
I do.
And she'll rip me
I do.
away
I go down and
from
they get pizza, and I'm like,
Yeah.
eat food. Food
Right.
is good. Here is a water.
Yes.
Nourish your body. I was trying to find mine. My bandanas were on my desk, and I was going to show them off, but I didn't. I think
Wow.
Alyssa might have stolen them. That was really fun, though. I mean, I really think that Austin's doing a really good job with the kids too, and like we've talked about this before on here, but having kids at an event like this is, like, I feel like parental discretion. You know, if your child is into this stuff or will participate and wants to do it, bring them. Bring them, immerse them in it. Like it's been such a positive thing to see the kids programs
Yes.
that Austin's been doing. And so, I mean, I love that it has a place at Maker Camp, and we can just be like, not just a big family, but like family friendly. So
Yes. Exactly. And I mean, my daughter made friends with the other kids, and they were all running around doing the stomp rockets, going to classes together. I mean, that was it's just so precious. Yeah. The best childhood memories you could ask for.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Alyssa wouldn't let me not bring her ever again. So
I know. I mean, it's worth it, and it's definitely a lot more work to bring a kid, and you know, but it is epically worth it.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so Maker Camp, we've talked about the Soft Asylum. I want to talk about because it sounds like you kind of started doing videos in social media in 2020, as did a lot of people in our community. Like, how fast did you see your page just blow up? I mean, you're sitting on Instagram at over 400,000 followers, which is insane.
Yeah, I don't even know. I was like, I remember being like, wow, I have like 10,000, and I was like, that's more than I ever thought. And like, it just keeps going. Like, I don't know. I'm speechless. It doesn't even feel like it's real. Like, it doesn't feel like it's really happening. That's the only way I can describe it. Like, I don't know. It happened pretty quickly after the videos. I mean, I can't remember. but like a year or two after like being consistent, it was what really drove it up was Street Art Globe, which is a big art media outlet, reshared a video, and then a ton of others trickled in after that one because that one got so much exposure, and then like just they just kept sharing and sharing the videos. So I would wake up and it'd just be like hundreds of followers, and I'd just be like dizzy about it, and like messages and notifications, and just like, and now it's pressure to keep going. Because I mean, it was hard. It was definitely hard to like get started and get to that point, but it is, I think, harder to like maintain it or keep growing from there, like bouncing from this point to maybe if I want to keep growing, because like, you know, it's just a drive to keep growing, then what are you going to do to what, how are you going to, you know, top your last thing? Yeah. And that's a really, really hard, and it's kind of like pressure because you don't want to like lose the momentum, basically. Like the momentum.
Is this across all platforms? Like, are you like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube? Like, where are you, is there one platform you're primarily sharing on?
Yeah, it's primarily Instagram, and then I do YouTube also, which is going pretty well. And TikTok too, but like my main focus is Instagram, and then I just try to like post to the other places too, and Pinterest, and but my husband helps me. I don't just do it all myself, you know. He helps me post to YouTube, and he might add his like own music, and he might edit it a little bit differently, the videos. So it's kind of fun for him now that he's gotten into it. Because I mean, I definitely can't do it all myself. So
is Alex full time with you then too?
No. Okay. He does IT full time, and then he comes home and works some more.
Gosh.
Yeah, he's a really hard worker, and like incredibly supportive during this whole time we've been together. The whole time he was with me before I started marbling, and he was always been encouraging, you know, 16, 17 years together doing this. And then he's supportive with the kids, because it's hard to juggle kids and running a business and making the art to sell in the business. It's all one big epic picture, which he helps a lot. So
good.
That's
He's a
awesome.
good guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I kind of want to jump as we start winding down the episode a little bit into sort of your thoughts on the future of marbling and the techniques that you use. Okay. And just kind of ride this wave with me here. But we talk to a lot of makers that are finding applications for technology to integrate into their work, right? A classic example is CNC routers, right? So do you think, or maybe it already exists and I'm just not hip enough in the marbling world, but do you think that there will come a time when digital artists will be able to take their work and then use machines to deposit inks onto your substrate with the help of like a computer or robotic things in order to make things, again, back to printmaking, like editionable or consistent, or adding direct graphical or text elements to acrylic that normally spreads when it's on its substrate? I mean, like, I feel like there's opportunities to sort of meld that screen printing almost, or almost like an inkjet printer, to deposit or pull a squeegee across
streamline
the surface.
art.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Jessie?
Streamlining art.
Right. Yeah.
But again, like one of the things that we touched on is that each one of your pieces is unique and handmade,
True.
right?
Yes.
But I wonder if in the future, or if the stuff exists, do you think you could see finding ways to add elements of like typesetting to marbling? So that's structure where normally you deal with abstract and pattern. I don't know. It's just sort of a wild thought.
Yeah, no, I love like the sort of mysteries that it has to offer, because it's like it's physics, it's science, it could be technology based. It could be mechanical. I know my teacher Dan St. John, he talks about back in the day they did have mechanical marbling, and he's like steampunk marbling. um, in a different kind of way, but you could have, computerized paints coming out at a very consistent metric, where you're like this a measure of volume where you're dropping this specific amount in a place, or the combs could be mechanical. But then I don't know. Then what would I do?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's not what you do,
But I get it. Yeah.
right? But I mean, I didn't even think of the physics. We're gonna have to chat after the show and make some Patreon content or something. But in a world of surfactant chemicals and the way that your acrylics react with your base substrate, boy, this is going real nerdy real quick. There is an inverse side to what you do that we'll talk later. But yeah, you could manipulate the way at which the pigments expand or drive them back together
Right.
with chemistry and physics. That's really cool. We're gonna chat.
Yeah.
I feel like repeating the art though it's like taking a famous painting and being, Brittany, you would like basically create the piece and it'd be like some super complex thing and people would be, oh my gosh, I love that. But then being able to recreate it. That's kind of, so it'd be like a recreation. You'd have, two of one, one of two, kind of thing.
It's definitely an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at 47 minutes on our episode, which is awesome because I feel like I could talk marbling for another hour if given the opportunity, but we try to stay respectful of our guest's time. Is there anything that you wanted to touch on that maybe we didn't get a chance to talk about yet?
Well, I guess it was more like when we were talking about printmaking, I also like to think about, the bath as the matrix, which is like the printing plate. So it is, I do consider it like a type of printmaking where it's a monotype print. So like just one or one of a kind, because it could be you're transferring an image onto a substrate, which is the definition of printmaking after all. And so I think I do consider it a form of printmaking.
Oh, no disagreement from me at all. I just, it's unique in the monotype world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, tin plates or whatever printing that you're doing, monotypes, right? Or just oil on metal and then sending it through the press under the blankies.
Right.
Yeah. Like, and then because your acrylic tends to absorb into the piece, unlike oils and solid monotyping.
True.
There's no opportunity. Well, I'm sure that there's some, but there's not a lot of opportunity to manipulate and then build off of your monotype, which would be like scratching away your oil on your metal plate. Right. And I wonder how many different ways, depending on what you're printing on and how far you can get your acrylic that is floating on your substrate to then manipulate versus having to rebuild your palette with your combs and your colors and everything. Oh, it's so cool.
It's
Again, printmaking is like the punk rock of art school, right? I mean, like
it is
it just is. Printmaking is punk rock.
totally
Like all of your all of the like revolutionary posters and all of the concert posters and all of that stuff. Like Art Chantry is actually in St. Louis here. He keeps a small gallery, but he was the guy who did all the Sub Pop record label posters up in Seattle. And so like we don't realize how much something that is so niche
right.
is constantly around us. And I
Yeah.
think it's really cool that like you spent time and energy and focus on something like that.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
We do, however, need to do one more quick lap through our sponsors. And then we're going to get to the final question. You may remember from the pre-show what the context of the final question is. So let it stew in your nuggies while we do the quick version of our sponsors. Again, thank you to Hannah and the team at Surf Prep. There are only a couple of wiggle sanders with reasonable dust collection built into them. And that 3x4 from Surf Prep is just dynamite. Make a mess, but make less of a mess, and choose Surf Prep in order to do so. And if you're shopping there, use coupon code Sawdust Talk. You can save a little bit of money. Helps the show. Harvey Tools. Love you guys. And there is a Patreon for this channel. If you want to see more of these episodes, we're not holding them hostage, but every little bit of your support helps. Jessie, we're going to get you the fancy internet one of these days. We're going to get you high speed up there. But yeah, that's what we use the Patreon bucks for. It goes right back into the show. See if we can get some kit or get out to come see you at cool things like Maker Camp. Which allows us to give you high fives and remind you why we think you, our viewers and listeners, are such an important part of the maker community. So that's Patreon/Sawdust Talk. The final question every week, Brittany, is we normally ask our guests to come up with a motivational thought or a quote or, a reason to kick open your workshop or either try something new or make another mess or just clean up the last mess so that you can do what brings you joy. Is there anything that you want to share with our listeners?
I was thinking of what might have helped me get going and motivated is just consistency and a ritual. Making sure you have your dedicated space and a dedicated time. I say every single day to make something because we're meant to make. I think we're all artists, and I don't like when people get timid and intimidated to make something. I think no matter what happens, you don't think about the results. You just think about your focus and your effort, and the outcome is what it is.
I love that.
That's so cool.
I'm so excited this worked out. Brittany, thank you so much for coming. I'm so happy our paths crossed and that I can call you a friend of mine because I just think you're lovely. Your whole family is lovely. Thank you. So yeah, thanks for coming on tonight. And TJ, do you want to take us out?
Absolutely. Viewers, watchers, listeners, we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Bye.
Thank you.